Da da da! What's my good cheer? Welcome, everybody. Let's give YouTube a couple of minutes, get those notifications out, let people know I've gone live. And in the meantime, if you've never met me before, I am Cindy. I explore the inside and the outside, and I'm just coming in from the outside. I just went for a short walk to the store to get some whitener for my coffee. Uh, I am lactose intolerant. I've come to appreciate as I get older. And I'm saying appreciate because dairy is one of my favorite foods in the whole world. Oh my goodness. I don't, right? Besides maybe cottage cheese. Right? But I love all kinds of dairy products. But I found as I become more mature that my actual physical system doesn't tolerate it as well. So I kind of pull away from these things that don't serve me, or that, in my experimentation, I do a lot of experimenting when it comes to my vitamins, the regime that I do for my vitamins. Like yesterday I says, oh, we need to do some more B12s. We haven't done a round of B12s for quite a while. And because I had just lost my cat, I had to put my cat down. I have been extremely sad, and at the same time, practicing my craft, treating myself well, whistling, as I'm trying to stay busy in the things that I'm doing. And it's helping because I notice that it's helping because when I stop, that's when I have that moment of sadness, right? It was super fast. It wasn't expected. Sometimes things can settle in our systems a little bit, when things drag out, that we have a little bit of time to absorb the process of these things that we don't want to go through. In the end, we still have to go through them, but I don't think it is any easier than, uh, dragging something out, or just having it just done in a split second. I think the good thing, and if there's a good thing about that, is in my relation to people who have had traumatic experiences. Sometimes when we have some time to go slowly into accepting a situation, or realizing a bad situation, and just having that maybe uh, a little while just to say, oh, well, maybe it won't work out this way. Maybe my cat will be okay, right? That we drag and we prolong what's inevitable most often, right? We knew, but it's hard sometimes to let go. But when we don't let go, when we're supposed to let go, right, we're doing detrimental, right, harm to ourselves, and to the party that has to wait. you know I don't know if it was for myself, if I could be in extreme amount of pain, and then have that option to be gone, that pain, if I would, right? And it is in these times of grief and surprise, right, by being taken by surprise. And like I said, I've been around in my life, around a lot of people who've gone through traumatic experiences. I've been able to move in lots of different networks and being able to put myself in other people's shoes and live vicariously through other people's experiences, right? And it's not a good thing, right? It's not a good thing to prolong something that the pain is extended. But in saying that, I have to say, in being around so many people who've gone through traumatic experiences, when they happen by surprise, when they happen quickly and unexpectedly, the process of coming out of it is a little bit more difficult, if at all possible, right? And we're talking paramedics and ambulance and fire department and 9/11. That's what we're talking about, right? And those are the experiences that impact us for our entire lives. And sometimes it doesn't matter what we do to resolve them. It's just something that we have to learn to, I was going to say appreciate, because it's true. We have to appreciate these experiences because, right, they offer up lessons we might not ever experienced or understood, because sometimes it's just a matter of understanding, right? Having our lives put in a situation where other people have the opportunity to not go through what you're going through or what you have gone through, because people learn, right, through other people's experiences, not just the good stuff, but the bad stuff. Don't step there. Don't touch that. Make sure you get that qualification. Make sure everything is safe. And yeah, we just don't do that, right? Okay, you guys, I have been kind of floaty the past couple of days, but so much better, right? So much better. And we're always moving forward, and I am immersing myself in the experience, even though it's not a pleasant experience. I want to be that evidence for others. And in order to be the evidence for others, whether something works or doesn't work, right? Because we can be the evidence for somebody to say, "Oh, right." So we have to be we have to be aware of that, but at the same time, right? It is in my trusting that everything is going to be okay. And I trust everything is going to be okay. And I'm moving forward. I'm treating myself well. I'm working on little things to go on with my brand. I'm trying the lighting. I'm pleased with the lighting, right? So I got the lighting situation resolved, right? I have some strip lighting around my big picture windows. So we're going to use that because I'm watching my live right now and it's much more clearer. I only tried the lighting because I just wanted to see if it would help with the reflection in my glasses, and it doesn't. So, but that's okay. I like the lighting. So we're moving forward. We're going to keep this. We're going to keep this lighting. Now, what I've got here is a bag of webcams. This is one of my electrical bags. I keep all my wires and cords and stuff in these, right? This bag is full of webcams. And so I'm going to just try them out tomorrow with my camera and see if I like any of them. There was a reason why I don't use them. I'm content with what's going on here, only up to the point that, right, I wish the quality was a little bit better, right? The footage was a little bit better. But you know what? It's in that experimentation that we eventually get things right. We hit the nail, right? And it just goes down there smoothly and is a perfect connection. Sometimes we miss it totally together and we just whack our thumbs, but unless we experiment, unless we try things out, right? There's no chance at all. No chance you're going to hit your thumb. You're going to keep your thumb nice and safe. You're going to, right? But you're not going to have any of this to do afterwards. And the the lasting results of what you're trying to accomplish might be that one little bit of movement that just shoots everything off, right? You just adapt and conquer and experiment and ride the waves, right? Okay, where are my cards? I guess I didn't pull them out tonight, so we'll just grab them from here. And if you don't know, these are 54 powerful words. Uh, Usually in my life, I'll just grab a card and it's the first thing that comes to my mind. First perspective or perception. Sometimes, right, it's always in that optimistic idea that, right, I'm going to walk away at the end of my life with a lesson for myself. But on the norm, I have to come into my lives and take the lesson for myself because, I just come in and I just kind of let whatever flows. Sometimes there's a message for me, sometimes there's a message for somebody else, sometimes, right? We don't hit that nail on the head. It doesn't always go down smoothly. But when it does, I like doing that one. It's a TV commercial. It's for some kind of bottled liqueur or something. Yeah, it just uh, something private joke, I guess. It's a Canadian thing. I think it's a Canadian commercial. I have no idea. Okay, you guys. Card we have tonight. The word we have tonight. Oh my goodness. I knew this card was going to come up again this week. I just knew it. Actually, this afternoon, I said, "Oh, wouldn't it be funny if that card showed up tonight?" And look what we got. I've been getting this card 54 powerful words. There are words in this deck that I have not even pulled yet. And yet, this card I have pulled numerous times. We're on the second hand, really. I must have pulled this card at least 7 or 8 times already. Even in this month, I think this is the third time this month. Community offers up a sense of belonging. And that's true. We're all looking to belong. That's why, we go to school and we're hoping for best friends. We join the chess club or the drama club because we want to connect with others, right? But not just connect with others, but connect with others with the same passion as us. I use chess as an example because I liked chess. I was in a chess club, right? As a kid and as a teenager. I used the drama class because, right? I love drama. I doing the plays and the acting, and it was something that I didn't recognize that maybe I might have any talent, but it wasn't a matter of having any talent in acting. It was a conversation with an English teacher who saw potential in me and thought it would help me to come out of myself because I was so shy, right? But she was so impressed all the time because she'd go, "Okay, Sydney, come up here and you're going to read chapter 6." And I would come in and I would just flow into it. I loved reading. I was a good reader, great pronunciation. My spelling sucked, but I was a great reader. But I was so shy. I did not want the attention on myself. And I spent most of my time, right, dodging spitballs in high school. And yet this teacher, she'd go, "Hey, Cindy, you're gonna," and I would go up there and I would just do my thing, and and I guess it was pretty good, good enough that I blow my teacher's brain out of her off her shoulders, and like, that's Cindy, right? But she didn't recognize that I didn't present that way because I was naturally good, right? That I wasn't impressing and doing a flawless job because I was talented in any way. It was because I was standing up there and I didn't want to make mistakes, right? In growing up in the dynamic household that I did, like, right, you learn from your mistakes and you learn not to make mistakes, or that back scratcher was going to come across your knuckles so fast, make your head spin. Right? So I didn't like the attention, but this teacher, she got it into her head that drama class would be good for me, right? That it would help to get me out of my shell because she could see what I could do when I was put on the spot, when I was made to present, that I could present well and speak well and pronunciate well, that I could actually connect. But it wasn't because it was natural talent, it was learned talent out of necessity, right? To stay safe, to not get into trouble. That was a big one for me. I always thought at any second I was going to be in trouble trouble for something by anyone, right? That's just right. That lucky charm that Cindy carried around with her, and you can understand why I didn't want that attention, right? Because of those feelings of having that attention on me, that, right? So, and lots of people are like that. But also in saying that, lots of people don't get seen at all, right? And it's not because they're shy, it's because they've been put in their place, they've been programmed, they've been taught not to be seen and not to be heard. And so that's what they do. And this is, our greatest scientists and greatest surgeons and doctors and thought leaders out there, and they're not able to socially connect because they were projected on by somebody else that told them that they couldn't, they shouldn't, they weren't going to, right? For myself, it was a little bit different. I was a beast. I couldn't be invisible. I was like a great big target on a dartboard walking down the school hallways. I always wanted to be invisible that way. So it made it doubly hard when I had to present in front of class. But if I hadn't presented in front of class, there are lessons in that. If I hadn't done that, if I hadn't listened to the teacher who had asked me to do that, she would not have recognized that I had talents, and she wouldn't have recognized enough to ask me why I wasn't expanding on those talents, and then recognize that I needed to be around people. I needed to be in a community, right? I needed to belong with a group. And she put me into the drama, and I loved it. It brought me right out of my shell, and it helped me in a sense of belonging, and it was a good place to put me because in character actors, they're not always the most beautiful actors. Not to say I was a character actor, right? Not to say I was a character actor. I could have been a character actor, but I wasn't. And if you gave me a little piece after that, I would take. And I blossomed, and soon as that that community enfolded me, I shined. I shined within that community. That community shined, and I was able to pick up a few lessons that helped me to learn to belong to the smaller groups, because I didn't want to belong to the bigger groups, because the diversity, right? The dynamics of the larger groups. I liked having one or two close friends. I got my friends, and then for the rest of it, right? I was just class, right? Community is really important, but sometimes we don't recognize, right, where our communities are. But I have to tell you, if there's one thing that I've been learning, especially this year, is that our communities are spread everywhere. Everywhere. Every once in a while, I come across somebody that, right, I connect, I know, I feel it, and I'm looking at them and going, but right, they're so different from me. And yet I listen to their content, I join them in conversations, I I live vicariously through their experiences because they're living an absolutely totally different life than I am. But that's the programming. That's, from when we're little kids and we grow up in different households and different cultures and different religions. And people don't look past skin color or accent or intellect or interest. Now, that's so easy. And just taking an interest in somebody, that should be enough for you to be able to feel out that connection, because we can find a connection with absolutely anybody. We can find a commonality where we can actually pick up on a conversation. And if we want, make a new friend, right? Because community offers up a sense of belonging. Okay, you guys. That's all I've got for you tonight. Community. Oh my goodness. I hope that doesn't show up in the next. Right? They want me to get community down packed. This is what I'm thinking. I can't imagine that I'm getting it wrong every single time. Right? But it is an important word, right? It doesn't have to be a big community. It can be a big community, right? I've been a part of a few big communities. Remember, right? I was 16, madly in love with Donny Osmond. I might have been coming out of it at 16, Donny Osmond. Yeah, I was probably on to the Bay City Rollers at 16 years old, right? But 12, 13, yeah, the Osmond brothers, Donny Osmond in particular. I had a few of them, right? But this is what it is. You become a part of that community. Do you know how many of us were madly in love with Donny Osmond when we were 14, 15, 16 years old, right? That was a huge community. I remember being a part of a few of the fan clubs, but were they honest connections, connections that lasted into our adulthood, into this present moment? I don't think there's a lot of us that can say that we still have those connections, right? Because if we're doing it right, we're changing and we're outgrowing those connections, even within our own families, right? It's like getting booted out of the nest, right? The bird's nest, getting booted out of the nest, and you're out on your own, right? Start your own flock. Okay, you guys. That's my good care. We'll see you tomorrow.